Moving on to retreating. When things get too dicey, you can get to camp in 3 ways. When you find yourself on the camp tile, you'll see this gold outline around the retreat button. Pressing it now will allow you to return with everything. If you retreat from anywhere else on the loop, you'll only keep 60%. And if you die on the loop, you'll only keep 30% of your resources. Once you start beating the bosses, you'll collect Orbs of Immortality, which you can use to go ahead and take all the resources anyways. Right, what to build at camp. Don't worry if you've already bought some upgrades, you'll want to get everything in the end anyways, but if you're just starting out, try to focus on the Herbalist hut since it unlocks healing potions. They automatically heal you when your health goes below this little marker on your health, and you refill 2 potions every time you pass the campfire. Now, you also automatically heal once you pass the cozy campfire, and if you build a field kitchen, it will increase this healing by an extra 10%. To help with early farming, I found the Watchtowers to be a huge buff. You can build up to 4 of these, and they give you a ranged ally who, at first, will help attack 1 tile away from the campfire in either direction. This means I was able to stack all the hardest mobs right up near my camp tile and get backup from all my archer buddies. Each upgrade on these towers extend their range and damage, making this a building I focused on upgrading early on. Lastly, you'll want to unlock the Smelter. It grants you the Arsenal card, which opens up additional equipment slots that I spoke about earlier. Synergies and things to look out for. Remember how some landscape tiles have low and high quality versions? Well, here's an easy synergy that works with rocks or mountains. The first time in an expedition that you place any of these cards in a 3x3 square, they will transform into a huge mountain with different stats and spawns a harpy every couple days. Also, every 10 of these cards you play will randomly place a Goblin camp or a Woodman village somewhere on your loop. If these things are messing up your run, make sure you have an Oblivion card in your hand to erase them before you drop that 10th card. Be careful if you're overlapping battlefield cards. This will create a tile that spawns blood clots. That's great for your encyclopedia, but these guys can be hard to kill. Groves and forests can spawn blood groves, which kill enemies who drop below 15% HP. But if you build a second blood grove off of a first blood grove, you'll make a hunger grove, which kills enemies at 20%, but also damages you occasionally. Either way, I loved having blood groves for the boss fights since 15% is a lot of HP on a boss. Ruins seem like cool cards since they give you a random resource, but they can be super dangerous. The giant worms are ranged and can attack you from the next tile. They also have this annoying chance to flee battle and avoid death at the last second, which means they can still attack you if you fight on the tile after them. This card has ruined plenty of my runs, and definitely avoid putting ruins beside your campfire since they will actually help the boss and attack you as well. If you do like using them, bring a Blood Grove card since it kills them just before they reach their escape threshold. The river card doubles the effect of the tiles beside it. Try to have a river touch a tile no more than twice, since sharing a border 3 or 4 times will actually only buff that tile 1.5 times instead of the 2 times for the first 2 sides. The Treasury is pretty useful early on when farming materials. It spawns a massive amount of resources if you're able to fill in all 8 tiles surrounding it. The rewards are better at higher loop levels, so if possible, keep at least 1 tile unfilled until you're about to end your run. Lastly, when you finally trigger the first boss, it'll spawn several buildings around the campfire. Each of these palaces will increase its stats by 5%. There are 2 ways to help out with this. Try crowding the campfire with as many cards as you can. This prevents the Lich from even spawning any buildings to begin with. You can also try to hold on to as many Oblivion cards as possible to delete them before the fight. Finally, what to farm while looping. I was farming like a champion until I found out that I needed roughly 1 billion Orbs of Expansion to keep upgrading my camp. These things don't even drop from specific mobs. Instead, they have a small chance to drop after a battle with 4 or more enemies. You'll need tiles that spawn a lot of mobs, and luckily, ranged attackers count towards the total number of enemies as well. I highly recommend that you start farming them as soon as you're able. The easiest way I found to do this was to get as many watchtowers as I could and to pack the tiles in their range with as many spawns as possible. For example, the Vampire Mansion spawns vampires if there's another mob present, and you can put swamps in their range since these tiles make lifesteal hurt. Or you can place a village next to a Vampire Mansion to change the village into a zombie infestation, which spawns zombies plus a vampire, but after 3 loops the village upgrades and doesn't spawn zombies anymore. You can also try your luck with the Temporal beacons. It covers a huge range, but these watchers are difficult to kill, so make sure you can dish out enough damage. That reminds me, I also needed to farm some Astral Orbs, which I found out only dropped in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th chapter, and only from a few enemies, including these watchers. Each chapter has a different cap to how many items you can bring back, but if you manage to get the resource drop-off skill when you level up, you can get away with farming at the earlier chapters if it helps.